Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cheap Seat Booking. It's been forever since I've had time to do this. The month of August kind of got away from me there. As those of you that are watching on the At the Inn channel know, a bunch of personal stuff got in the way, so I just didn't have the time. But we're going to talk wrestling finally. There's so much has happened since the last show. Joining me today from Philadelphia, Alex is back. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, how you
Over
doing?
in the UK, we have Miss Gemma joining us. Good evening, Miss.
Hey.
How are you? And also from the East Coast, out in North Carolina, we have Josh Mongo of Cruising with Kayfabe fame. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good?
Doing good.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to get into it. We got Survivor Series coming up in Vancouver. I was super freaking excited for this.
Was?
I was waiting. Was. Keyword was. So I got the pre-sale. I got everything going. I'm at work. I've arranged things. I'm getting my job done. I'm on my phone on the app. I'm getting into the queue, and then I got in to buy tickets. And sweet, merciful crap, what the fuck has happened to ticket prices in this day and age? Now, Mongo, you are hanging out in North Carolina. You're in a hotbed. You see a lot of shows. You have the opportunity to see a lot of shows. Alex up in Philly, same thing. You saw last year's WrestleMania. Gemma, you just got back from All In a couple weeks ago. Major shows, right? So I'm not even gonna preamble this too much more. I'm just gonna show you the screenshots that I took in the Ticketmaster app for Survivor Series tickets. The first one I'm about to share is going to be. Oh, hold on, I'm missing the whole thing here. Where did it go? Give me a minute here. Anywho, so the first one I had is I just looked for one seat after a while. Section 326, row 13. So this is pretty close to the back wall of the building. A $250 ticket with $67.05 in fees. $67 in fees.
$317. Wow.
$317.05 for this ticket. I was
Canadian.
Yeah, so $1.50 for you guys in the States is kind of where that goes. And that was a whole thing. That was just me searching for one. The floor, row 3. Anybody care to make a guess on this?
2,100 Canadian.
5 G's.
Alex is much closer.
I've done WrestleMania on the floor. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The ticket itself was $4,800.
To put that in perspective, that's less than I paid for the cruise for 3 people.
That's and thank you for making that point. I think I may have ranted on. Yeah, I know I ranted at all 3 of you about this as it was going on. The service fees on this ticket, $872.
Why? It's still a ticket.
This grand total, $5,672.26 for one seat in row 3
for like 3 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so you've got to figure the pay-per-view is going to be 3 to 4 hours, and then there's going to be the pre-show. But this is 5. So let's say 5 hours, maybe 6, which is a pretty long time to be sitting in a seat. Currently, the most expensive cabin left on the Jericho Cruise is $3,000,
and that's 4 days.
Right? That's 4 days where you're going to walk out of your room, hop on the elevator, and you're going to be bumping into talent left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they know.
You know what?
Or you're bumping into Matt and he's putting a drink to you. Hey, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that happens. Yeah, no, the night 1 of the last cruise was. I have photo evidence that I was there, and that's pretty much how that goes. So I've been to a few shows in my lifetime. I was at WrestleMania 17. I paid $35 plus 550 for my seat. Now I was in the third row of or the third bowl of the Astrodome. For WrestleMania 18, again about second deck in the Sky Dome, $96 was my ticket. And for WrestleMania 19, it was lower bowl of Safeco Field or whatever it's called now, the Mariners Stadium, at $67. To round all those up to current times, not one of those tickets cost more than $155.
That's what I'm saying. Even with inflation, that value. When you were first saying that, my brain, I'm the numbers guy. I'm already inflating in my head. I'm like, I'm not even, triple double that price. But my WrestleMania 33 tickets. When you first texted us about this, I looked at them. I paid $200 to sit in like what would be the loge, like right off the floor when it first goes up.
Yep.
Even today's prices, that's like $400, and that's for almost on the floor for WrestleMania 33, which wasn't really a stinker.
No, it was a solid card. I mean, that was that Roman and Triple H on top, or is that Roman and Taker?
That was Roman and Taker. That's when the Hardys came back in the ladder match.
Right. That's right. Yeah, and that had that giant stage. Now, Alex, you mentioned your Jamal latching on to that. Yes, I was. I was at all. Those are some pretty solid shows. But WrestleMania 13 was no slouch, and I know last year's WrestleMania was no slouch. Alex, you mentioned you paid 4 places. So what was that like? I mean, we know you had a big event there of your own, but what was those ticket prices like for you? Because it was you and your soon-to-be wife, correct?
Yes.
And a couple people as well.
No, we just went as the two of us. No, I think my cousin also came with us. Yeah, he was off the day that the tickets went on sale, so he got us the tickets. And he's had great, track record for getting us good seats. So I was like, go, get us whatever you can, do your thing. And all of a sudden, he sends me a screenshot, and it says, section 13F or something. I'm like, what does F mean? And he's like, oh, I guess we're on the floor. I'm like, what? What do you mean you guess? So we were, I think, 24 rows away from the ring, on the floor, facing the stage. So it was a straight shot, straight view of everything. And I think that came out to, I'm going to round up a little bit, 1,500 a piece. So it was 3,000 out of my wallet to pay for me and Jill to get there, but we're 24 rows away, and that's for 2 is $3,000, and I think I got a chair too, so that was a $150 chair, but yeah, that was rough, but it was also WrestleMania in Philadelphia, so I feel like that's also something that inflates.
All right, gentlemen, what was your ticket experience for All In before I get to my my last comparison?
So we were, I think, about 4 or 5 rows back in the first lot of seats that goes up. So we weren't floor, but we were as close as you can be without being floor. And we were straight view of the stage. And I paid, let me do the conversion, works out to about $160 for my ticket.
Okay.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you got decent seats at a decent price. I'm talking with people, and we're thinking, yeah, $200 is about what we can afford on this one, right? Especially since Wrestle Dream is drivable again for everybody that was planning on Survivor Series. But this is Survivor Series. This is bucket list. This is War Games, right? Jamal, thanks for joining us, buddy. Jamal is very scared for WrestleMania next year. Yeah,
Vegas. Ooh.
I would be.
Especially since it's that new stadium, the Raiders Stadium. So people were already complaining the SummerSlam prices when they were there. Can you imagine what they're gonna do for 2? I mean, so Alex's broke down to what, $750 a night essentially. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like $1,000 a night now.
Yeah, I mean it's getting out of control. Wrestling used to be WWE used to pride themselves on being a decent priced family entertainment. And I think this is the backlash from Endeavor taking over. 100%. These prices are, I mean, obviously the ticket prices, the product has grown, especially in the last few years. It's hot as hell. I mean, this is as hot as it's been probably since Austin. And even back then they weren't selling tickets for this price. It's insane to me.
Did you see what their COO said recently?
No.
He basically came out and was like, we're going to reduce our live events to 200. We feel, especially for the house shows, we have to raise the prices. So that's a warning sign to me, because it's like a house show for any company should be your most affordable show. I should be able to
Yes.
say, hey, Matt and Alex, we're in town for the night. Hey, sweet, there's a house show on Sunday Stunner. Sweet, $20, let's go watch. Because then that's how you get someone, who has kids, or you get someone like more of the casual.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling someone you're going to price it out like a Super Bowl, you're going to get Super Bowl kind of clientele. You're not going to get the average fans, which sucks, because we all grew up, we all still love it. But it's hard to me, it's hard to watch and invest my time if I can't go to the shows, if I can't afford. That's why I think I've drifted slowly to being more of a casual fan, because I'm like, I don't want to get my hopes up. I want to go to WrestleMania like Jamal did, but I was like, the flight shouldn't be cheaper than the Mania experience.
Right? Like, we shouldn't be looking at a cruise vacation and comparing it in prices. It's like, this is insane. So here's my last point. So Vancouver's had a few pay-per-views here. We had Rock Bottom, which I went to, and we had International Incident back in the day, which was, oh boy howdy. Let's not call it peak times, because it sure wasn't. So for both of those shows, I was in section 113, row 21, and 115, row 18. Okay. I found the closest possible seat to that. Section 112, row 22, $626, which includes $126.90 in service fees. Now, these service fees are out of control. The guy buying the $600 ticket should be paying the same amount of service fees as the guy buying the $4,800 ticket to me, because it's all printing. These service fees alone on that row 3 seat are more than this ticket.
No, that's Ticketmasters. That's my big gripe. When I went to Revolution, I almost didn't want to go, because what I paid for each ticket, what broke down, the fees I could have bought a 4th ticket, and I could have had Jamal sit with us. I could have had someone else sit with us. I mean, I paid $375 for 3 tickets to Revolution, in like the 100 level. The service fees broke down to almost $200. I'm like, that's a 4th ticket. Like that's a scam and a half. I wish Pearl Jam had won when they sued friggin' Ticketmaster, because it's
same.
That's the other issue, I think, too. Not to rant or anything, but because they have all these deals with all these venues and Live Nation, these smaller venues, they can say, what are you going to do about it when they set these fees? Like, I think that's what kills it too. Is WWE can control the prices, but like you said, you might be able to swallow a higher ticket price, but you shouldn't have to pay more of a fee because you have a more premium ticket. You should it should be a flat fee, like it's $20. They'll still make a killing.
They're not paying somebody to sit in a ticket booth anymore at the mall. They're not paying to print out tickets. I was going through my ticket stubs to get this information the other day, and I'm like, I fucking miss having ticket stubs.
And you have to pay to print it at home. You ever seen that scam? It's like, if you want to print it at home, it was like $2.50. I'm like, wait. I'm using my supplies and my expenses, my resources, and I'm paying you for that experience? I'm confused here. Shouldn't I get a discount?
Right? It's like the self-checkout. Shouldn't it should be getting cheaper because I'm doing it? And I don't mind doing it, because Lord howdy, I do a better job half the time packing my own groceries. And I get a little Tetrisy and a little OCD about it. Now, this is the North American experience. Gemma, what's it like over there in the UK for buying tickets? Like, are these fees just blowing your mind, or is it basically the same deal?
Totally blowing my mind. I mean, we have fees, and I get annoyed at the fees I pay, but I think the fees for all in was something like £30, so probably $40. It wasn't the amounts you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I am absolutely flabbergasted myself. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I thought
I have every confidence that my fellow Brits and I would riot if people tried that over here.
Yeah, I think we should, as a matter of fact. I think we need to organize something. I think this is it. I don't think I'm trying for WWE tickets anymore.
Well, look at what just happened at Bash of Berlin. They had 13,000 people in attendance, and they cheered for setting the highest gate for an arena show. And the crowd's cheering. I'm like, stop cheering that you overpaid, guys. Like, I wouldn't be proud, like, yeah, we're the most expensive venue. Wait, there's been a shit ton of WrestleManias that have been massive. Wait, how much did I overpay?
Exactly. I see. I love having Josh because it's almost like he's looking at my notes. He got rated,
Sorry.
and it's fantastic. Like it's. I think we're all on the same page here. Like this is out of control, and that's the exact point I had. It's like, you put 20,000 people in the arena, and you made $4 million at the gate. Guys, time out. Like, and that's the thing is like, oh, it's the highest grossing show in this town. It's like you're getting bent over. Like I get it. There are people you have to pay. You got to pay your talent. You got to pay your backstage people. You got to pay your riggers. You got to pay your roadies. You got to pay the pyro guys. You got to pay all these people surrounding these big shows. But to have such a vast difference in ticket prices from a few years ago, and a buddy of mine said, "Oh, so this will go COVID. How did COVID do anything about this?" COVID did nothing. People are now back at work. I don't understand anything other than Endeavor going to have an elite aura of this is what the money people come to see, just like UFC. I think
Yeah,
it's a little more out of control.
I went to UFC in Boston when it came, and I paid to sit like in the 300s. This is back when Brock was still there, so this is like 103, 104 UFC. I paid like $300 then to sit in the 300s. Those ticket prices, because I'm always curious when they come local, like to Charlotte or anything like that. I'd like to go to see a fight again, but like you said, it's like $900 to be in the nosebleeds. So they're trying to get the when you go to Vegas and you have Tyson and Fury, they had like here's the premium. They're trying to make it that like premier event, but I think personally the issue is, and I'm not trying to poo poo on WB because I still love it and watch it. I just think someone's got to pull back, like you were saying. Everyone's saying like, whoa, we still got to make this somewhat reasonable. Like if you want people to come to our weekly television show, you can't charge them $400 for floor seats, $500 for floor seats. Maybe Mania, that's when you charge the $1,000 or $1,500 floor seats, but you got to have caps, especially when you know the fees, or get your own ticketing site if Ticketmaster is that greedy.
Yeah, I mean that's that. For some reason, in antitrust and anti-monopoly legislation has ignored Ticketmaster entirely. Like,
I think that's a whole separate
and
episode.
it's been this way, right? It's been this way for fucking ever. Ticketmaster was the only way to go. Live Nation was a thing, but now they're the same friggin' company. I I don't see myself trying for WWE tickets at any time in the future anymore. I think that live viewing experience for me is gone. I'm gonna stick to local shows. I'm gonna stick to the cruise. I'm gonna stick to AEW or hell, bring TNA by. They're Canadian. I know they're on the wrong side of the country, but like, you show me something. Hey, give me. I mean, I'll go down to the States and check out a Defy show if I need to see wrestling that bad. It the WWE experience, I think they've just lost me as a paying customer. I'm going to stick to the network or the Netflix or whatever it is, but this has really got me. Like, I shouldn't be looking at, do I go to this show or do I go on the cruise? I mean, it's one thing to have to pick between two pay-per-views within about 6 weeks of each other, like Wrestle Dream and Survivor Series. But for one seat, it pays for my hotel and my fuel and everything else to get down for 2 tickets for me and my wife to go see Wrestle Dream in Tacoma. I mean, come on, guys. You're going to price yourself out of your big market, which is families. That's all there is to it.
And where they're going international, I think they're smart because they know that people will, well, they don't come around here that often, so I'll suck it up. Like Berlin, but look what happened in Scotland. 1 year, they were able to get one set. Then they went to the other side. They got priced out. They had to downgrade the venue because they got priced out of the market. And again, it's just like you said. It's that you can't be greedy that quick. You almost got to do it in $30, $40 increments every couple of years. You can't just raise your prices that much for like you said, sticker shock. I wanted to take Emily to a better Mania because Mania 35, we were behind the freaking LED board because it didn't say obstructed view and they didn't have seats to move us because it was sold out.
Ooh.
But I look back and I was like, I can't get her to another Mania because it's going to be like you said, the cruise or Mania. I get more for my buck on the cruise.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the cruise is an interactive experience right off the bat. right? Like we're still in port, and you're walking down hallways, and there's Johnny TV, there's Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho's running around doing stuff, Kazarian's over there. You see all these people go up the basketball court. The Young Bucks were playing basketball for most of the first cruise. That's where most people ran into them. And you might turn around, think you're talking to one person watching a band, and nope, actually I've been watching you on TV for friggin' 15 years, sir. Yeah, and we're just talking about our kids. And that was an actual experience I had. I thought I was talking to another buddy, and I was so happy to see my kids in the just rocking out to Fozzy. They were younger, mid-teens at the time, on their first cruise. It's one of my daughter's very first live bands, and I thought I was talking to my one buddy. I look over, no, I'm talking to Frankie Kazarian, and he's telling me about his son, and we're having dad chat, and I'm like, oh, you're not who I thought I was talking to, but I am cool with this, sir.
Or you could pay more money and sit in the seat next to a stranger for 5 hours.
Right? I mean, you might be sitting next to a buddy, but I was supposed to be getting 6 tickets. Yeah, you shouldn't be making life decisions, or like some of these tickets are more than my rent, and I live in a friggin' 5-bedroom household. So it's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. And now I thought originally, I was looking at it, I had it set up for 6 tickets, and it said, oh, for $450, you can sit over here. And it was on the stage sort of side, and it was not obstructed view, but you definitely weren't going to see a whole lot of the video wall from where you were sitting. And I'm like, cool, there we go, we're good. Went to check through, I look at the total, I'm like, why does that almost say, why is that almost $3,000? What the fuck? I'm like, oh, those are per seat. Holy shit. And that's where my Thursday morning went right down the toilet. I mean, it took me 45 minutes to get through the virtual queue on Friday to try and see if the better tickets are released. And I could not believe it. At one point, I was just like, you know what? It's going slow because people are buying. There's not going to be anything left. I looked when I have to see this through. I have to see what is left when I get there after 45. And yeah, it was awful. It was terrible. Jeff, Cruise Over Mania, absolutely. I think if you haven't been on the Jericho Cruise, you're missing out a huge experience. It is so unique. I mean, sure, there are lineups, but you might meet somebody, as I said, you might just be talking to him over a guardrail. You might meet him in the bar lineup. You might be partying with them. You might be just the elevator doors open up. So let's segue away from
when you're eating food and you turn around and all of a sudden you're face to face with someone who's like 6'6", well, not face to face, but you know what I mean. You're like, you are a large human. You're like your head is just face the chest, and you're like, you are a very large human in your head, and you're just like, hi, how are you? And you're trying to say like, okay, I don't want to awkwardly walk away, but like every single normal instinct's like, what? This is not what you see normal day to day. I don't see someone who's towering over. I'm almost 6'1", and when someone towers over me, it's intimidating.
Yeah, right. We have a mutual friend, Ken, is 7 foot tall, a legit 7 foot tall. He had a photo with Lance Archer last year, and Archer's looking up at him with the look on his face of what the fuck. And Archer was the second biggest dude on that boat, and only because Big Show was there that year. Jamal, I think everybody here agrees you can't recommend the cruise enough. I mean, even if you're not a Jericho fan or an AEW fan, you get the nostalgia acts, right? Like it's the experience. I think WrestleMania is probably always going to be the experience for a wrestling fan, but the cruise has got to be a close second.
And speaking of Big Show,
yeah,
has Brian, Brian, because he always calls you Matt from Canada. I'm going to send this to him too as a Snapchat. So did he ever tell you the story of our friend Coco meeting Big Show?
No.
So he met Big Show on the cruise this past year, and they're all talking, doing their, generalities, and Coco shakes his hand and goes, wow, your hands are huge. And Big Show just looks and goes, what'd you do? Expect me to be fucking tiny?
Just has his little mutant tiny hand, like use
my good hand.
I guess everyone say hi to Brian from America. That's about from the Undone. I'm gonna send this to him a snap.
Yep. Check out the Undone, by the way. Hi, Brian from America. How you doing? That was one of my favorite meetings on the cruise. We had been Facebook friends for a little while, and there's a bunch of us sitting around from Matt from Canada and Brian from America, and that just stuck.
You guys
I love it.
pop
All
me
right,
every time I see you guys talk back and forth, and it's "Hi, Matt from Canada." I'll just chuckle. I'm like, "Oh, there it is."
yeah, it's fantastic. All right, let's get on to happier things. Let's book some stuff. So we have our lineup. We have our I guess our legacy lineup. We'll call it our non AEW talent. I think we have a really solid lineup. I am so excited for Liger. So excited. I have been assured by a friend of mine that knows him. He is the nicest possible man. So I'm really excited for that. I never thought I'd get a chance to have that encounter. We got Scott Steiner. I'm not sure how that's going to go. I've heard varying stories about Mr. Steiner. However,
I
I'm
have a
not about to
story.
bring up. Yeah, do you?
Oh,
I
I do
mean,
too.
yeah.
You go first.
I'm not about to bring up negative stories about Mr. Steiner to his face because he scares me still. And Jerry the King Lawler are headlining. So I mean, I think we got a pretty solid line, and then the undercard, including Sonny Kiss and Nick Nemeth and all that. Gemma, do you got a Scott Steiner story too, or are you just
No, just what I've generally heard of him.
you're right? All right. Well, if you boys want to unload a Steiner story, I'm here for it.
I mean, I'll go first. Mine's not that long. So I was at a Icons of Wrestling down here in Philadelphia. We have like a wrestling convention every few months in the ECW arena, and they bring in whole bunch of people like Scott Steiner level guys. And I was like, well, yeah, I want to go meet him. He's Big Papa Pump. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
gigantic. It's going to be great. And I saw him, and he was like, he had the ring mail headpiece on,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then otherwise he's dressed as a civilian
Oh, we've
and
we've
has
got a
like a manager or whatever, like a money handler or whatever to take care of things for them. Scott didn't have one. It was just him at his table, and I'm just like, "Hey man, what do I have to like? Who do I have to talk to?" He's like, "Oh, you can talk to me." I'm like, "Cool. What do you want for a photo?" And he's just like, 40. I'm like, "Great." I just hand him the 40. He puts the 40 in his fanny pack. We get a photo, and I go away, and he's just like, "Yep, that was cool." Bye. He's just like, he didn't even say nothing. Like it was like a yep, talk to me, 40. That's all I got out of him. He didn't say nothing. He didn't talk to me. He just wanted his money so he could get out of there. It was not the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. But I got what I expected, I think.
all right. I mean,
Yeah,
it could be worse.
I'll say he's a straight dick. The very first time I had an experience was like back in 2017. He was at a convention in Rhode Island Comic Con, and there was a whole row of basically like the Hall of Fame type wrestlers. You had like the Teddy Longs, you had all of them. So I walk into the room because I was excited to meet a couple of them, and same thing. I was laughing. So I'm like, yep, I can see him now. He has the black sunglasses, the chainmail, and then just like a regular like band T-shirt and like probably Adidas track pants. It's like the most basic look, and you're like, okay. So you walk up to him, and he's just got his head down. He's not making eye contact. And there's legitimately a line, and I'm like, oh, he's signing. No, he's waiting for the lady to slide him an 8x10, and then he looks up, and he's like, name? Just short and sweet to the point. I'm like, okay. So I went to go get a picture with him, and I was like, oh, can I get a picture? And he goes, at the table? And in my head, I'm like, where else? I didn't know about pro photo ops. I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, I guess. I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, oh, can my friend take the picture? He goes, no. So I give it to his manager or whatever. Takes the worst picture I've ever seen. I can't even post it because like I'm like turned. He like looked, so it's all blurry. It's like the worst picture. Can't even tell who it is. I was like, oh, can I get another one? He's like, you can pay for another one. I'm like, wow. So that was that. And then a couple years later, I went to another con. I saw him treating people the same way. So I'm like, he seems like someone, he just wants the money. He doesn't give two shits about the people unless he knows you. But personally, I don't think it's someone I'd want to interact with on the cruise.
You got Alex is flashing a photo there.
It's not working.
No, it's not working. It's not picking it up. Now, Jeff is making a good point. We could all use some Steiner math. I am looking forward to Steiner sitting at a podcast, and somebody's going to ask him to break down what he was thinking when that happened. I kind of hope it's Colt Cabana that asks him, because for anybody that's seen Colt's show on Bad Wrestling Promos, that one is always, and it's a good wrestling promo, don't get me wrong. It might be my favorite one of all time. but that you get some. That's a bizarre one. Yeah. All right. So we've got all that. Who are you guys hoping AEW sends this year? Gemma, you've been awful quiet. Let's start with you.
Will Ospreay. I want Will Ospreay.
You want Osprey back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Osprey was a partied hard on 3.
He
He's a good dude.
tweeted at the beginning of the summer that he was going to be on the Jericho Cruise next year.
He did.
Yes, he
So
did. I
That,
It's
remember
that's
that.
practically
not a
named after
guarantee.
him.
But
And yeah, sex on the beach. It's named after him. He's got to. I agree with
Named after
Gemma.
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
See,
my
this
one
is why
wish.
Gemma's here. She knows all.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a great pull. I mean, I hung out in the pool for a couple hours with Sonny Kiss and Will Ospreay. As a matter of fact, there's a video that goes around of Brad Williams doing a belly flop, and you can see me and my wife and some friends of ours in the corner, and Will and Sonny sitting off on the sort of the end of that pool deck where everybody walks across that they're not supposed to. Yeah, who else are you thinking? I would love Will. Will was a hoot.
By the way, I can send you that video, Matt. I'm the one who shot that video.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic. We hadn't even met yet.
I know.
That's
Wait,
awesome.
what? See, small world. Yeah, I'm the one who jumped in the pool belly flop to get a picture with him like an idiot. You were there
Okay.
too.
Yep.
Because Caitlin, I was trying to walk across things. She was like, "No!" to me. Like she was instant mom mode, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I like stepped down. Like it was so funny. Like I do remember that. So you said, like, "Oh my god, it was Matt and Caitlin." Like it just literally popped in my head. It was you
Yeah.
guys. So yeah, Caitlin's the one who saved my life. So I didn't slip and kill myself.
That's fantastic. Who else you thinking, Gemma? We have Jamal wants Tony Storm. Absolutely. I mean, we had a big Tony Storm presence last year, but let's actually get Tony.
I'd like Willow back. Willow was amazing.
Yes.
She's so lovely.
She was such a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I mean,
she really
I didn't
was.
get to interact with her, but I saw a couple, and she just seemed like such a sweetheart.
And aside from, I mean, to be honest with you, all of my biggest wishes from AEW were there last year
Nice.
because Trent and Orange were there last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're my main loves.
Yeah, and you know, Orange is. I mean, I think he got on mid. He was one of the small
Yeah.
group of people that sort of got on in Mexico and hung out with us for a couple of days. Yeah, guys, what do you? What are your wish lists looking like? Alex.
I got a handful of like tops. I'll put in, the other Tony Storm, Mariah May. Oh my gosh, I want to see her on the cruise. The glamour, I want a picture with the glamour. Who doesn't?
Right.
Meeting Okada in person sounds like a fun idea.
Yes,
Right?
it does.
Ricochet would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're in a good position to maybe make a Big Bill Real One reunited thing for the main event, maybe.
How you
he's
doing?
coming up in one of our other topics. So I agree. I think that especially with Big Bill being part of the learning tree
For how long?
group, which yeah, well,
Mm,
hey, it's wrestling. You never know. But yeah, I think that would be pretty sweet to see have that little
Brian
reunion
Cage
on
was
the
the
cruise.
nicest. Brian Cage was the nicest. So
Yeah.
I want him back. He was so nice. Like
You don't
I
expect
need
it
that.
either.
No, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get ready for another Scott Steiner experience, and then it wasn't. It was like the biggest muscular teddy bear ever, and I was like, yes, this is great.
Yeah, he was, and he, like you said, he's muscular. He's built like a cube. He's as tall and as wide and as thick. You pick one measurement, and that's the other three. But he was super.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Another cool one I think would be the Righteous.
Yes.
yeah.
to
I
have
have them
this-
on my list as well.
Have the ship doing the snaps, like, oh my gosh. And then definitely I have this in all caps, not Jeff Jarrett.
Oh yeah, we're gonna disagree on that one.
Oh no.
I want Double J.
If he's
No.
on the cruise, I'll throw him overboard. It's over.
I'll help.
Yes.
Alex is going home with a souvenir guitar necklace. I like the Righteous idea. Gemma was with us at Boca Raton Championship last year when they came out the night before the cruise and they were doing a thing, and that was a cool experience. That Boca Raton show was actually really, really good.
it was.
We were going to support our buddy and friend of the show and former guest, future guest, hopefully Nolar Bear, as he ended up wrestling Gangrel and Frankie Kazarian. But the Righteous, that they had that room snapped along. I can get behind that. What about you, Josh? Anybody we haven't mentioned yet?
So this is going to be my tinfoil hat, but I think it can happen. I think someone who recently retired that no one's mentioned. I think we get Sting as that celebrity guest too. I think we're going to get
Don't
him.
get Matt's hopes up.
It's my hopes. I think just because I'd heard a rumor a while ago that he was really interested in doing it. Now maybe his son comes on. Maybe he goes on with his family. Now he's tried that he takes the family on the boat. But then he kind of does like what Big Show did. He just kind of hangs out, does his thing. But maybe we get to see his son wrestle. So I kind of want to. I think that would be cool to see because it's like a dark, house show. So
Yeah, and I love
His
that
daughter-
the cruise wrestling is house show wrestling, and it's fun because they aren't worried about being super serious. Yeah, don't like. I asked Sting when I met him back in June, any chance you're coming on the cruise with us one day? And he just sort of chuckled, and it was a very efficient pro photo line. That's all I got. And it's like, get the fuck out of the way. Sting was nice as hell.
yeah,
It was just the people going, no, we got to keep this line moving. But
But
yeah,
I
I
think
was.
that would be cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I agree. I would up and die right there. Liger's cool, but you add the old stinger to that. I'm going with Mongo here. I want Jeff and old Double J. I think would be a great host for karaoke. And Jamal has a solid point because I want Karen too. Karen Jarrett can come. We love hot moms. Absolutely. Yeah, and apparently Jeff is like the nicest guy too. Like they're both the reputation of Jeff Jarrett you see on TV that has worn out more fast forward buttons on my remote controls than anybody else, except for CM Punk right now. He's catching up real quick. The reputation of just when people meet him, it's like, oh god damn it, I fucking hated you for decades. Well, yeah, you were supposed to. So he's really good at his job, but apparently like the nicest human being.
Super
So
nice.
I gotta do that. So a couple names that I have on my list that nobody has mentioned yet. The Outrunners, I'd like to come back.
Yep.
Those guys were fun to hang out with. I'm also hoping because they're not doing a whole lot of profile stuff. The House of Black and FTR.
FTR would be a dream.
Right.
I wanted to put House of Black, but getting their entrance right on a ship might be rough.
Yeah, you'd definitely put them on later in the day. They're probably not doing the 3 o'clock shows.
Or they just do the main event, like Jericho's group versus the House Black, and they just kind of come down different stairwells.
House of
Yeah.
Jericho.
Yeah.
House of Jericho. He could be, yeah, but I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah, I think they could do some fun stuff. And here's one I want to see just to see if he sticks in gimmick, or how much he sticks in gimmick. The Beast Mordos.
Oh, I love him.
I mean, I just want to see how long he'd keep that mask on for in the in the tropical heat.
Oh, and I don't think he's got long hair. Someone sent me a picture of him because they think he looks like someone's like, he kind of looks like a Roman Reigns, like without the mask. He is a very in shape and he is a very handsome dude. I can see him blending right in because he'll just on the cruise. So I think he'll do it like when he needs to, but I think they could pull it off. Him just coming out and he could do a podcast like, hey, tonight's 10 thoughts from Bordos, and he could just growl the whole time. Be
Right.
huge with the crowd.
Yeah, you put him up in like the comedy showcase thing. Throw him in there with Orange Cassidy, and it could be growl. Yeah,
I think
just
another
watch
one
him
that
go
I
back
have
and forth. So
on my
between
list,
Jeff and
too-
Jamal, they are loving the Outrunners idea. I mean, and if you hung out in the atrium at all after the Guardian show, you partied with the Outrunners, and they were just the nicest dudes.
but I don't think they're old enough to drink, are they?
The Outrunners, youngest guys in pro wrestling, and they did that whole Mega Powers tribute bit the one night, which was just awesome. Like I cannot speak more highly about another pair of talent than those guys. They were just fantastic, and I think. And this is selfish, I'd like the conglomeration because I'd like to see Mark Briscoe back as well as my hometown favorite Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's funny. I was just saying I had Kyle O'Reilly in my notes too. I'm like, oh no, and then you just said Kyle O'Reilly because she had said Orange. I'm like, yeah, I really wanted Kyle O'Reilly. I think too, maybe having Hobbs come back. He was a gem. I think he's always
Yep.
fun to come on the boat. Um, he's just so nice, and he was always fun to watch in the ring. And I know he's really close to coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would be really fun, just because she get a lot of heat. They already had Harley. Why not bring Saraya on just to yell at everyone? Like,
Oh
just be a
yeah.
mega heel. I think Saraya would be fun on the boat to have like that heel woman on the boat, and then she can come out in the crowd and just that way. If you try to get someone over a little bit as a baby face, have her come out and lose because it doesn't really matter because it's on the boat.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you who else I'd love. Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian
Yes.
would be awesome.
He was awesome last time he was on there.
Yeah, he was yeah,
Cruise 2.
him and Penelope were on Cruise 2. They were telling tales out of school here. They were down the hall from friends of ours that we had brought with us for the experience, and they were headed back up to their room one night, and Kip and Penelope were trying to get to the room because they had some business to take care of, and they were ended up taking care of a bunch of it in the hallway trying to get the door open. They're like, yo, those, I thought, friends, like, I thought Rich was all over me. Good Lord, she was all over him. I'm like, good for Kip.
Hey, they're on vacation too.
And that is the thing, is you got to remember these people are on vacation. So as much as we want to see them, we also have to remember, do not introduce yourself to them if they are in the restroom or eating breakfast.
So
I was watching Hawkeye the other day, and in the first episode of that, there's a moment where Clint Barton is approached for an autograph at a urinal. No, you don't do that. That's just awful. And I've seen people do it. On Cruise 1, Kenny King came in to use the restroom from karaoke, and somebody asked for a photo, and I just fucking yelled in that little tiny bathroom that's outside Spinnaker, he's in the can, back the fuck off, and I walked out the door. Like, have a little etiquette for it. I didn't go over and sit down next to Satnam Singh. I sat at the table next to him and ate breakfast, but I'm not bothering anybody. Like, these wish lists are cool. These guys are cool to party with, but for the love of God, people, if you're out there, please take this. Don't bother them if they're dealing with things coming out of or going into their bodies. I think that's a
or if they're
fairly
obviously in a rush. I saw that a lot last year. Like they'd be clearly trying to go somewhere, either like a meet and greet, a photo op, a match. Like they're hustling down the hallway. I saw someone, shall remain nameless, they run out. Can I get a picture with you? And like they're clearly trying to just like hustle. And the wrestler was just like, oh, no, not right now. And then the person who tried to do it was like, rude. And right away I'm like, really? You think that person was rude? You almost shoulder tackled them to get a picture.
Yeah, and don't bother them in the gym either. I mean, that's like they're trying to. These are professional athletes. They can't just sit and eat and drink for 4 days, and they need to keep their muscles going. They need to keep their bodies in shape. Top Flight in action, Andretti. Yeah, Jeff, absolutely. Dante was super cool. We had a drunken discussion walking up the stairs one night. He was super personable as well. Yeah, like
he really left a mark on Jeff.
Yeah.
No,
at this
literally.
point, like, oh yeah. Well, that sounds like a story Jeff can tell. Maybe Jeff will want to come on the show one day. That would be pretty cool. I am booking future shows, so if anybody in the sound of our voice would like to come on, all you gotta do is hit me up. Most of you at this point can either get to the Cheap Seat Booking or At the End Facebook page and drop me a line, or just send me one personally over the messenger. I'm always glad to line up guests. I'm looking to do one next week as well. I have an interesting little topic for that. But let's get to the actual booking portion of this. The Oceanic Tournament will be back. We have Michael Oku, who probably had the best match to ever take place on that boat in its entire history with Speedball Bailey last year. Alex, you were about 2 feet away from me for the entire thing, which was awesome. So Michael Oku is waiting at the final night for that. And who we putting in this tournament? Who you get? Let's go with 8 names because we got about 15 minutes left. I think Alex Internet just died. I know he was working on a laptop that is not brand new, but he can jump back in and once he gets it booted up. And Jeff agrees. One of the best cruise matches. Yeah, absolutely. And the wrestling on the boat is just it's so unique. It's house show stuff. It is,
It's
you know,
fun.
it is humor heavy, and it's fantastic. Oh, he's back. We made it. There we go. Um,
I wasn't.
so yeah,
It was me or you.
yeah. So we're just discussing like 8 names for the Oceanic tournament to meet Michael Oku. I mean, as I was just saying, as you froze and I blue screened of death or whatever happened there, I watched wrestling right next to you. Josh was right across the aisle from us for most of the wrestling. We got that little corner staked out. Um, so before Alex dies again, why don't we just start there? What do you think in the Oceanic tournament? Give us some names for this.
I thought of something really cool, and like, if Sunny Kiss is back, I want Sunny Kiss to win the whole damn thing. Sunny
Mhm.
Kiss Oceanic champion sounds like fun. Um, I want Johnny Drink Kicker for it. That sounds fun too. Like all Johnny Drink Kicker, like he's the gimmick. Come on, we have to have him. I mean, to Speedball is fun
Yep.
to have him in there for it. I just like all these fun guys. I don't know. I don't have 8, but you know what I'm going for at the end is this shock match, I guess, of Matt Carter, or I'm sorry, Michael Oku going into this and versus Sunny Kiss, and then oh my God, we get the Sunny Kiss champion. That'd be super cool.
You know what? I've had the pleasure of spending a little bit of time with Sonny a couple years ago, outside of wrestling and cruises and stuff. Just we have mutual friends. Gives the best hugs on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful human being. My youngest daughter is coming with us. She's now 16 and is so excited to meet Sonny. Just absolutely off the rails. Yeah, Jeff, Johnny, and Taya were very cool last year. I'm a big fan of Taya Valkyrie. We're born in the same city, so I'm a bit of a homer there. But talk to her in a hallway, and that's the other thing. You walk out of your room, you're just talking to him in a hallway because it's just this little thing, and it's kind of weird to be 2 feet away from somebody and not say anything. So yeah, Sonny, I could see that, and then that means we get Sonny back for 7. You walk
It's a
out with that
win-win.
belt, you got to bring it back, right?
Yeah.
Gemma, what about you? What are you thinking for this?
I'd like Effie. I know he's not been announced or anything, but I'd die for Effie on the ship.
He would be
That
so
would
fun.
be cool, especially with Jarrett coming.
To be fair, I also think with the whole fun vibe, Danhausen would be amazing, but he's already said he wouldn't do the cruise again because he reckons he's cursed and always injures himself when he does the cruise.
Yeah, I mean, Danhausen may have cursed himself. Period. Love him. He was super fun the couple years. Him and Will doing the run in to save Jericho on Cruise 3 was pretty rad. Yeah, like that's the thing is we get really good wrestling matches out of these guys, and they're real and girls, and they're just really cool people as well for the most part. I've had very few bad experiences, and we won't bring up my worst one. Effie and Sonny would be awesome on the cruise. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that I feel like there could be a tag match in there somewhere. That would be fun with those two. So you're thinking Effie in the Oceanic tournament there and walking out with that belt, Jim?
And maybe Warhorse. Warhorse would be hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah, he's doing some weird nihilistic angle. He's like, "Oh, I'm Jake Parnell. I'm not sure what." It's kind of working, but yeah, he's still rocking it out there. He's doing Midwest more.
Okay. That's fantastic. Jeff has an idea and wants to book Effie and Sonny versus the Outrunners. That match.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I am here for it. Excellent call, Jeff. I really like that one.
Well, there's a way to bring Kip on board. I was just thinking, what if you bring Nick Wayne back? Nick Wayne and Kip had that match. They have chemistry together.
Mhm.
There's kind of a way, with Kip trying to teasing something with the patriarchy here.
Mm-hmm.
What about Christian and the patriarchy? Everyone but Christian's been on the boat.
Oh, yeah, right. I would love that, but the second you put Christian on the boat, there's another name you need to see there with him, right?
Yeah.
That's $100 for a flash for 5 seconds of flash photography, and that's Copeland would be a nice addition as well. You couldn't turn that down, that would be big time. I don't know what his time frame to return is, and that's the problem. Is you look at these, Tony's got to book shows, so we may not get all the star power, but boy, do we get some good talent. Yeah, Christian would be pretty rad.
I was
I
kind of
wonder.
hoping,
And
like,
Adam doesn't have
selfishly.
to be fully healed for the cruise.
Nope.
Like he just needs to be able to move. You know.
Oh yeah, they don't have to wrestle per se. Even if they're just there as like to be like, Christian could fill the MJF role of just insulting everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine him? Like, he's like, we're gonna play a game, instead of Duck Duck Goose, he just lines up cruisers. Your dad's dead. Your dad's dead. Your dad's dead. Your dad's dead.
There are no fathers on the cruise.
I want to see Christian versus Cruise Jesus.
Christian needs Cruise Jesus.
That would be funny. And they're going again this year, right? Because I'm pretty sure when I talked to him last, said he was going.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't speak to him personally. I don't think I have him sort of in my circle, but we had a nice long chat during one of the matches last year. He was a nice dude, and that might be my favorite Cruise gimmick. And no offense to old Tony Riccardelli there and his Cruise Flair thing, but the Cruise Jesus was amazing, especially with last year with Busted Open asking him to, can you do something about the weather for us, sir? Bringing him up on the ramp, and that was funny. That was good times. So, Mongo, what do you think about this Oceanic tournament? Where you Michael Oku going to end? Who you want in that pool?
So I think too, they're pulling kind of from TNA and the Indies, so it's kind of a variable who's who come on to kind of enter that tournament. Like, obviously, last year was a surprise because Oku were like, oh, that's neat. Like, we got someone from Rev Pro. I think Rev Pro's still working, so maybe Luke. I think he'd be cool to come on the boat. Luke, I think that would be entertaining. I'm just blanking on his last name. I apologize. I want to say Jacob, so I don't think that's right. He was just in Rev Pro in the championship match. I would like to see, if we're going to go indie, maybe Cardona again, just to like try to, hey, I'm going to get this title, because I think he's a blast on the cruise and he has fun with it. But how about Wild out there? You know who's been randomly showing up everywhere? JBL. Imagine JBL just shows up on the cruise and just
unannounced,
like,
absolutely
unannounced, just clotheslines someone in their tournament. Like, not saying he's going to win it, but imagine he just takes someone out because he has a thing going with Nick Nemeth. So I thought of that this morning because he whispered something in Nick Nemeth's ear. Well, he just showed up at MLW and whispered something into Brock Anderson's ear. So like, he's been GCW. Like, JBL's just randomly showing up places.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this actually works out. So for me, I got a different main event match for that. Guys, I would like to see in the tournament. I'd like to see Hoovy in the tournament if he can still go. Apparently, he still does wrestle. I agree with Sonny Kiss, maybe Big Bill, Kyle O'Reilly, but I think for me, the title shot, I'd like to see Tommy Billington get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Dynamite Kid, Michael Oku. Yeah,
that would be fun.
Because I was really impressed with what I saw when I saw him at Collision up here. I enjoy watching him when he does show up, basically at random, in AEW. He is an indie guy, which is kind of key because if you go with an AEW guy to put that belt on, Tony may not let you have him the next year, right? So I agree with Mongo's get the indie guys in there, and I think Billington and Oku would tear it up.
And you can even really use some of the Ring of Honor. Like, I'm hoping maybe they tape something. Like, how cool would it be if they tape a Ring of Honor episode, if they tape something, or that new Shockwave show that's supposedly coming out. Like, I think they could tape something like they did Dynamite. Didn't just stay in the Bahamas a little bit, tape it, but you don't have to worry about flying people in and out. Just, hey, let's just essentially video it. We can save it in the library because they film all the matches, so it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the first year is on YouTube, and it was on Fight. It was a whole pay-per-view, the Sea of Honor tournament, which was awesome.
And
it's got some good Briscoe Brothers stuff on there, including Mark Briscoe versus Cheeseburger, which was my first exposure to seeing Cheeseburger, and he is just a solid dude. Love that man to death. Very nice human being. And the way they built that mat, the bird crashing into the ring on Cruise One was fantastic. Um, Alex, I know you weren't there. Were you guys on Cruise One? Gemma's saying no.
No.
Long ago. No, so I'm the only OG cruiser. But yeah, the watch, you can find it on YouTube. It's the Sea of Honor tournament. Colt Cabana is doing commentary, and I can't remember who his partner was. I think it was Jay Lethal, but the bird crashed into the mat mid-match. And they just kept rolling, and Colt being Colt was poking fun at it. So yeah. Jeff agrees. Yeah, give us the ROH show, or at least do the taping. Like, absolutely, you have a solid point. They've taped before. They've done the Sea of Honor tournament was all taped, put together. It was up on Fight within about 3 days. Jamal remembers the bird. Good times. It was. I mean, that was because I'm pretty sure there was a bird chant going on that one. It's been quite a while, but they did Dynamite live from the cruise, and that was the year we stayed in port. You guys were on. Gemma, were you on? No. When Gemma did? I forget. I know I've asked you which cruises have you been on. You were obviously on 4.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been some shenanigans. 3 was a difficult year to get through. That was getting on that ship was awful. It was fun once you got on the ship. It was brutal getting on the ship.
Oh, your story was terrible. Like, I thought I had it bad, but when I heard how long you were in that line, oh my God, I cried for you.
Yeah, we were 4 hours in line. We weren't even the worst. There were people in that lineup for 8. My wife's back went out, and that's when we decided that we were no longer going to ignore the checkbox that says, do you have mobility issues? We thought, no, we'll be fine. Yeah, we don't do that no more, because since then she's had some back surgery. And she's doing much better, but we just leave that box checked because I'm not waiting in that line. And then, the one that got me was we had to do that COVID test when we got in there. So you do your COVID test, and then you just sit in this little waiting lounge. It's not really little, but you sat there, and they'd come over and they'd give you your wristband and send you on your way. Well, my wife, who handed in her COVID test after I did, we did them at the same time, but mine went through first, and hers went. It took 15 extra minutes for them to come back to me, and the lady walked over, and she had a clipboard and a very sad look on her face because she was being really happy, but to give things out. Came over the back, and I'm like, I'm going the fuck home. I'm not getting on the boat. I'm going the fuck home. And she pulled the wristbands out from behind her clipboard. She was having a laugh. Everything clenched and nearly released. I mean, everything nearly released. I'm just like, you're killing me. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I'd have done that too. I definitely would have fucked with somebody like that. Yeah, cruised through about that long ass line, and for the free drink package that year was cool. Everybody got comped with that because they were trying to get people coming back. Jeff waited 4 hours or so. Yeah, that was it. Just getting through that and getting up on deck it was a good feeling to finally get there and be cool. And apparently nobody ended up getting turned away. The Canadians and the international, well, I guess it was just the Canadians. I don't think there was a lot of international on that one, but on day 3, you could tell who was, what's that?
There were a handful. I don't think it was as crazy as the previous cruises, but I think there were maybe a handful of countries that were allowed, and they made it. Not too many people from those countries either, but yeah, we were sad our Australian friend couldn't go because they literally didn't let him out.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, Peter from Ireland was on.
Peter was on.
Because I asked him how we could get it, and he's like, yeah, I flew to Mexico and then came up because he found a way around it. So I just can't imagine this dude probably went on a bender in Mexico and then went on a bender on the boat and then just stumbled home. We love you,
that
bro.
Sounds like Peter. Yeah, I remember I had met Peter a couple of times, and then on Cruise 4, Peter and I were in line to meet Mickey James next to each other, and I get the drink package, and Andrew's, hey, yeah, I'm talking to Peter, and he's like, yeah, we've talked. I'm like, oh, did we? I don't. And he's quoting my life back to me. Yeah, you did this, you work here, and you did that, and we did that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I get the drink, but I can't forget Peter now. Peter again didn't see him at the Boca Raton show, but he did. He popped up there and he was yelling down the stairs as we're on our way out. And poor Gemma, I gotta go back up. I gotta go see Peter. Peter is a hoot. All right, so we're at an hour here. So real quick, let's book one last thing. What do you want to see Jericho do this cruise? There, our quiet Brit over there, Miss Gemma. What do you want to see Jericho's match this year?
Not necessarily what I want him to do, but what I think he will do
Mm-hmm.
is I think if Ospreay's on the cruise, he will tag with him.
Okay. I like that
I
idea.
don't want it, but I think that's what he will do if he's got the option.
Well, that's a big name. You got any opponents you'd like to see in there?
I mean, Ospreay can have a great match with anyone. If I'm being perfect, picking my ultimate dream match, let's stick FTR on there with him.
Oh, that gives me needs. Yeah, I like where your head's at on that. What about you, Mongo? What do you want to see Jericho's match this year?
I think it's Jericho and the Outrunners. I think you got Jericho coming out dressed like an Outrunner, and I think that's why I think the Patriarchy is coming aboard. I think it's the Outrunners versus the Patriarchy, like with Jericho. I think we're gonna build. That's my selfishness. I want to see Jericho come out dressed like an Outrunner, doing the whole like '80s shtick. Because if anyone could pull off an '80s gimmick with them and make it like laughable, it's Jericho.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the man is notorious for being able to get things over. I like where your head's at on that one. I hadn't even occurred to me. Alex, what about you?
I'm just looking at the lineup here, and I'm seeing guest host is Nick Nemeth, and that's what I'm seeing for the Jericho main event too. Is maybe he's tagging with Nick or fighting against Nick. I don't know, but I feel like Nick Nemeth will be somehow involved in the main event.
I like that. I'm here for that. Personally, I think we're gonna have. I think if we do get a Enzo and Cass reunion, I think it's gonna be Jericho and Big Bill coming out, and then they have Enzo come in and replace Brian Keith as the third member for
Put
that.
some respect on Brian Keith.
Yeah, exactly. Respect this boat. And it's hard not to go with that patriarchy thing, but I think I'd like to see Steiner on the other side of the ring, maybe with I don't know. Maybe the Steiner grabs a couple of dudes top flight. No, that doesn't work, does it? But maybe an FTR or something like that on the other side of the ring, because I mean FTR's got Steiner Brothers vibes to a degree where they're just a badass tag team, right? Like the Steiners are a classic tag team from days of yore. So yeah, I think I'll go with that. I'll go Steiner and FTR versus Jericho, Enzo, and Cass. But it doesn't matter because everybody on the boat's doing a run-in.
Yeah,
obviously.
Liger's gonna hit Jericho with something.
Yeah, Liger doing that little run in to hit something real quick at the end. Yeah, absolutely, because that's where we get our the curtain comes down, the cast does a bow, right? And and shots get passed out. I think I missed the tequila last year, but there was a few years.
I got skipped every year with that damn tequila. Every year.
I'm finding you this time, and I'm getting you on.
Yeah, I remember we were literally ringside for Jericho House, and we're like on the other side of the ramp, and they were passing it around, and then some guy tried to give it to my, that 9-year-old, and I was like, no, or 8-year-old, like, no, and then like someone else grabbed it, and then I'm like, I never got one. I'm like, damn, I should have just taken that one from him.
Right?
Yeah, you just take all of them.
Because he was just like, no.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was the first year they did the tequila, the Danhausen Will Ospreay run in. I heard a voice behind me, grab us one. And so I grabbed mine, I grabbed a couple more, and I turned around, and it was Kate Quigley and Brad Williams asking me to grab tequila. So I'm like, here you go. and that just, again, it just goes to show that they're right there having fun too. Like, you won't get that at another kind of live event. Like, you're not going to stand in line for a photo and then do a shot of tequila with anybody. You're at an autograph session. Booker T is not going to crack a beer with you. Austin might, maybe, but he doesn't do that shit. All right. Well,
Is
thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you, Alex, Gemma, and Mongo for chiming in. I really appreciate it. It's been too long. There's so much wrestling to talk. I have part of a show lined up for next week. I'm still looking for a couple more guests. So if anybody out there wants to, Jeff, I will be in touch with you. Jamal is sort of in the queue there as well. So hopefully we have Jamal joining us. And I have a northern personality that is desperate to get in on next week's show. So join us when the Eskimofo is supposed to be here, but we'll see how that turns out because he is up there running TAW shows this weekend, and whew, good for him. Anything else anybody want to cap off on the Jericho Cruise? Any surprises? Anything you're looking forward to?
I want Elijah to riff off against Chris Jericho on the stage.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's not wrestling, it's music, but Elijah on the stage for a concert.
Yeah.
yeah. I had forgotten he was on the list.
Yeah, I have it
can see
open,
that.
so I'm cheating.
Yep, that's absolutely fine. Excellent call. Let's get him in there.
I just hope he gets some more good comedy. I enjoy the comedy shows too. I like to shake up, so I hope we can get like another Brad Williams set or something, or some comedian sets. Nothing like when you're just zonked out and you're like, I'm gonna go laugh for half an hour and then go back to doing stuff.
Yeah, you get to sit down, you laugh. I mean, Brad is the master of it. Like he's working off of his phone for most because he's just coming up with roasting, and most of the wrestlers are good sports about it. He has verbally beat the high holy piss out of the the Gun Boys for 3 years in a row, and I am here for round 4. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, if you want to join, drop me a message personally or on the show pages. Thank you guys for joining us and chiming in from all over the world. And I'm going to go get some breakfast.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.